a summary inclusive of questions and concerns. Okay, so if we could go to the next slide, please. Now, we're going to give a brief background on Warren Mottley. We all know he is a dear brother of Prime Minister Mia Mottley. And again, we've done it on the show before, but again, we want to say condolences. Someone has died, and someone's family. And there's a lot of pain involved in something like that. So I just want to take this opportunity to say that we do grieve with the family, because they've lost their loved one, and it wasn't like a long sickness. It appeared not. So we want to say that we send our compassion, give compassion to the family, and as we even speak about it and write about it, let's be careful of how we present what we're presenting, because someone had a loss, right? Yes. So he passed away sadly on June 29, 2021 at Queen Elizabeth Hospital. The death was followed a routine colonoscopy at Surgical Solutions, Inc. Okay, so that's the introduction to the case. The next slide. The overview of the legal developments. Let's look at that. The coroner's ruling of negligence was in 2022. Then Dr. Griffiths attempted a judicial review, right? Recent High Court decision by Justice Patrick Wells dismissing the claim, all right? So that's the recent High Court decision, which is what has brought us here once again, because we've done this on the show before, not at this level, but it's now brought us to have this discussion because Justice Patrick Wells dismissed the claim. Okay. The next slide. Let's look at the background and some key events. The inquest and coroner's ruling was conducted by Coroner Graveney Bannister. And he determined that Dr. Griffith and another doctor were negligent. According to the coroner, the conduct described was so bad it would be criminal. This is what the coroner stated, right? According to the newspaper article. And so to the next slide. Next slide. Okay, I think we're having a... Okay, so continuing with the background and key events, the Dr. Griffith's judicial review attempt, they sought to overturn the coroner's verdict. So that would be what the judicial review attempt was, to overturn the coroner's verdict, right? They argued jurisdictional overreach, unfair verdict, and violation of constitutional rights, right? The High Court ruling and its implications. Justice Patrick Wells' judgment in 2024 that occurred a couple of days ago upheld the coroner's decision, refused to interfere with the inquest findings, declared courts must not abuse authority in meritless claims. This is the ruling of the of Justice Patrick Wells. That was his judgment. Key orders from the ruling. Dismissal. There's a dismissal of Dr. Griffith's judicial review. Remember, Dr. Griffith was reviewing the coroner's report, right? Coroner's inquest and verdict remain undisturbed. The costs awarded to the respondent. Okay, so these are the key orders from the ruling. Response from Dr. Griffith's legal team. What was the response? An appeal, that they're going to make an appeal to the Court of Appeal. Moments after the ruling, Attorney Hal Gollop stated, the decision is against the grain of both local and English authorities, and they will seek a ruling from the Court of Appeal. Right? Am I going too fast? Let me know. Let me know if I'm going too fast. Again, we're continuing. Response from Dr. Griffith's legal team. Recusal request for Justice Wells. Lead attorney Ralph Thorne revealed that they had asked Justice Wells to recuse himself. All of this, right, we got from the internet. Justice Wells refused, citing lack of evidence and no indication of bias. Now, I want you to remember this particular point. We're going to get back to this recusing of this Justice Wells. Okay, so Justice Wells refused, citing lack of evidence and no indication of bias. Thorne's team will take this matter to the Court of Appeal. All right. So that's a response, part of the response from Dr. Griffith's legal team. Continuing. Now, during the whole thing, okay, during just before, but no, so we know heard the verdict yesterday, but it's important that interim injunction was granted by the High Court. Justice Barry Carrington granted an interim injunction in favor of Dr. Griffith. All right, so just, and we're going to get into that a little bit later. And this injunction prevents authorities from charging him criminally for Mottley's death at this time, or at that time, right? At this time. Dr. Griffith's legal team argued that an arrest would cause irreparable harm to his career and reputation. The state attorneys opposed, but the court ruled in Griffith's favor. So this is while this happened before the Justice Wells judgment. Okay, that an interim injunction was sought by Griffith's legal team, and the court ruled in their favor. That was under Justice Barry Carrington, which is a different judge. But we're going to get into the story of the judges. So we're gonna get there, okay? But I want you to hold this piece of information, folks. Like VO is saying, please like and share. It's important that we we understand what is happening, because this is occurring with Dr. Griffith. This time, around, we never know, just so we understand what's going on, really, because get the facts, or the facts as per the internet. Okay, the facts as per the internet. The next slide, please. Okay, so we'll go to the next slide. Now, there is a medical controversy within this whole thing. Okay, some people say it's medical controversy, but this is what the testimony of Dr. Griffith. He stated in the number 10 Supreme Court that mesenteric ischemia, I hope I said mesenteric correctly, ischemia, which is a small bowel ischemia, caused Mottley's death. This is what Dr. Griffith is stating in his testimony. He claimed it was an extremely rare condition, never encountered in his 22-year career. He explained that small bowel ischemia results from blood clots, cutting off blood supply. Now, have we been talking about blood clots a lot? That's as much as I can say about that. If we put it all together, we're talking about the injections, and we have known quite a number of people. But that's as much as I'd say about that. But as I read it, to be honest, that's what came to my mind. So I just honestly said it. Okay. Now we must remember that Dr. Griffith was the head of surgery at Queen Elizabeth Hospital. And I don't know if he still is. I didn't get to find that out. Somebody can message me and let me know if he still is the head of surgery at Queen Elizabeth Hospital. He linked Mottley's condition to the COVID-19 injections. Yes? Folks, we need to like and share, like and share, like and share, like and share, guys. Come on, keep pushing this. Push it, push it. Dr. Griffith referenced WHO medical studies linking mesenteric ischemia to some COVID-19 injections. Now, I did my own research and I saw on various sites, medical journals, where there's a link. But I am not a lawyer and I'm not a doctor. So I leave that to Dr. Griffith and to the lawyers. But I'm going to be nosy and want to know myself, could this really happen? And I remember, if some of you remembered, we were looking at this case a long time ago when it occurred. And what we did, we brought in a doctor who testified before Congress, right? In the US. And he said, and I'm trying to remember his name now. Some of you might remember his name, and he did say that this is a possibility. Obviously, he did not examine Mr. Mottley, but he was just saying that this is they're seeing this is happening because, according to the doctor, due to blood clots. Okay, so anyway, Dr. Griffith, let's go back to this that other slide. Yes, thank you. Dr. Griffith referenced WHO medical studies linking mesenteric ischemia to some COVID-19 injections, noted that other potential causes could include drugs or toxins. So if there were drugs in the body or toxins, I'm not sure if that means if he was taking drugs or well, it could be prescribed or unprescribed drugs or toxins is what it says, okay? All right, so the next slide, while we like and share. General questions and concerns with the case. So these are some general questions. Having gone through the information that I've seen and listened to other people, commentary on it, spoken to several people, we all have, there's some concerns that we have as we go through and you can list your concerns, right? Right? Okay, somebody's saying that their niece died from the same blood clot. Okay, wow. Okay. Now, let us look at some of the general concerns. Now, Justice Shona Griffith. Who is Justice Shona Griffith? Justice Shona Griffith was the first judge on this case. If you've been following the case, you would remember this. Justice Shona Griffith was the first judge on this case. And I find that I have some questions that concerns, what happened to her, okay? Or her. Let me say what happened to her. Justice Griffith recused herself from the case shortly before the trial. So she was preparing months, right? This is months she was preparing for the trial, right? She would have done all of the case management work. She's ready for the trial. She's at the threshold for the trial. It's a key question. Was she asked to recuse herself, or did she just choose to do so? What were the grounds for her recusal? In a public newspaper article, Justice Griffith stated she recused herself. However, if you check that article, which was the Daily Nation, November 28, 2023, She says, I have taken the decision, or the decision has been made, that I'm unable to take the case further. So for me as a lay person, I'm trying to understand, on what grounds, if she's saying it would appear that she doesn't even know why she's recused, but I thought you recuse yourself. You understand what I'm saying? She's not his sister. There are lots of people in Barbados with the name Griffith. She's not his sister. That is not correct. She's not his sister. Please don't. They have the same last name, but she's not his sister. Okay. What does this recusal mean for the integrity and impartiality of the case moving forward? Those are the questions that I have and other people have. It's just questions. I don't know what the answers are, but when I read it, I remember reading that, and I read that over and over. And Caswell and myself, we were talking about that. And he even pointed out to me, and we were looking at it and said, she says that I have taken this decision, or the decision has been made. Who made the decision that I'm unable to take the case further? Right, she's not right. As far as I know, she's not even Barbadian. She thinks she came from I'm not sure if it's Bahamas, and then came here. So, right? So that's one thing. I want you to hold that in your head, okay? So she would have done all of this work. Remember now, right? And then just as the case was going to trial, right? The lawyers for on the other side, they said that they made a request. Just a thought. All right, let's go to the next slide. Now, remember I told you there's a story of judges? Guess what? Because she recused herself, obviously another judge had to come on board, right? Yeah, had to move the case forward. So Justice Barry Carrington's involvement. So this is him now. Justin Carrington, who initially granted the interim injunction preventing Dr. Griffith's criminal prosecution, remember that when we mentioned that earlier, had no further part in the case after this decision. I'm going to pause there and think, because when I saw that, I'm like, I don't know. Am I reading too much into it? I don't know. I'm just asking a question. I don't know. I don't know law, and I'm no doctor. But Justin Carrington, who initially granted the interim injunction preventing Dr. Griffith's criminal prosecution, had no further part in the case after his decision. This is after they had, days of rigorous. The lawyers, the government lawyers, they resisted this for 2 days. Resisted this injunction. So my question is, why is Justin Carrington no longer involved? Was his involvement limited to the interim injunction, or is there another reason he stepped away from the case? I didn't see anything online. That's why I'm asking the question. Does his departure raise questions about judicial consistency or fairness in this high-profile case? I don't know. I don't know. Then, judge number 3. So we had judge number 1 recuse herself, or she said she called what the paper reported that she said. Okay, I have to be careful. I'm dealing with lawyers and judges here. So the paper, November 28, 2023, reported that she said, I have taken decision, or the decision has been made. Okay, now here it is. The next judge was on the case, Barrington, and Barry Carrington. What am I saying? Barry Carrington, Justice Barry Carrington, and he granted the injunction, but then I'm saying he disappeared because I don't know what happened, right? Okay. Then Justice Patrick Wells come on the scene. Justice Wells was recently appointed as a judge. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that it's about a year now. I need to look carefully at the when the appointment occurred, and it was posted on Instagram and carried in the Nation and Barbados Today. Now, when they interviewed Justice Patrick Wells, who I looked at his bio and he seemed very capable man, capable, well learned, and he expressed gratitude for his appointment in a public newspaper article, and he mentioned Prime Minister Mia Mottley. Now, I will tell you that I got a call from an attorney in Jamaica who said to me, Marcia, did you see the newspaper? Do you have a new judge? And the judge is Jamaican. Says my fellow Jamaican. I know he's bright. My fellow Jamaican, Justice Patrick Wells. And she noted it and she sent it to me and she said, but it's interesting. But he mentioned the Prime Minister. Is that supposed to happen? Do you guys do that in your country? The and I just felt that it was, but again, did he actually do it, or was it how the newspaper reported it? But if you look in the newspaper, just do a search, you will see that there's mention of Prime Minister Mia Mottley. This is a new judge. This is the judge that made the judgment a couple of days ago. Later, Justice Wells was appointed to handle the Warren Mottley case after he was appointed. Is this cause for concern? Some people have raised concerns about the potential or perceived. It could be because of the name, but we don't know what he meant. When he mentioned her name, what did he actually mean? We don't know what he means, what he meant by it. But it raised a red flag. And it could be the way the reporter reported it. But the point is that as thanks were being shared out, the gratitude was being given. Right? So, yeah. So, does this public gratitude of the Prime Minister raise questions about impartiality? It could be the way the reporter wrote the article. But it would be for Justice Patrick Wells, I guess, to probably, if something was wrong the way it was written, to clarify that, okay? Probably. Some people have raised concerns about it as far away as Jamaica, not even about this case. They were just asking. All right. Our next slide. The next concern that we have here is about the coroner. Now, when you have some time, do Google the role of the coroner or the duties of the coroner. Just Google it. And when you Google it, I did that today. And I was completely shocked. Because I told you, I don't know nothing about no law. Whoa, my earring fall off. I don't know anything about law, right? I don't know a thing about law. And so I had to go and Google it myself because I was reading that the coroner made certain judgments and so on, and so therefore I went to look up the role of the coroner, what who is a coroner, what they do, and what they do. I knew who was a coroner, but like what they do and what's the authority that they have, right? And according to Barbados Today, Coroner Graveney Bannister found the doctors criminally negligent and said their conduct was so bad in all the circumstances that it amounted to a criminal act. This is coming from Barbados today. Is this what the coroner said? Because the coroner's role is typically to determine the identity. This is according to Google. You hear? Not Google. The coroner's role is typically to determine the identity, cause, and circumstances of death, not to assign blame or criminal liability. Research shows that coroners investigate deaths to determine the medical cause, not to lay blame. So that's why I was shocked, because the Barbados today must have gotten it wrong, because the coroner, according to Barbados today, not me, the coroner said Grave Nibanis have found the doctors criminally negligent and said their conduct was, according to them, was so bad in all circumstances that it amounted to a criminal act. But according to Google, I'm the Google lawyer, the coroner's role is typically to determine the identity, cause, and circumstances of death, not to assign blame or criminal liability. Researchers shows that coroners investigate deaths to determine the medical cause, not to lay blame. Mm. Why did the coroner appear to assign blame? Why the blame? Why did the coroner make statements suggesting criminal conduct by the doctors? Why was this reported in the media as a criminal act if the coroner's role is not typically to assign blame? I don't understand. This seems to be a departure from the expected role of a coroner. What does this mean for the case? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. No, it didn't say it could be. It said it would be. I went back and checked based on the article and said would be. So you can look at it. But you might be right. But I went and checked and said, wonder if he said could, and I saw that it said would. W. All right. So let's go to the next one. Okay. Right. The next one, please. Okay, let's go to the next slide. A next concern that for this case, questions and concerns with the case. Justice Patrick Wells and conflicting cases involving Dr. Griffith. This is something that I didn't know, right? Oh, I'm reading this comment here. At the time of the publication of coroner's finding and comment, a friend overseas raised the same kind of concern about the role of the coroner. Yeah, but these are legal things. I don't understand them, but yeah. Anyway, moving along. Conflict of interest. No, I didn't realize this until last night. Justice Patrick Wells and conflicting cases involving Dr. Griffith. That is a topic that we're going to look at. Conflict of interest. Judge Patrick Wells is presiding over two cases concerning Dr. Griffith that can be conflicting, depending on how if you think, you can determine if you think it's conflicting. Because remember, I ain't no lawyer. The first case, Dr. Griffith is suing the coroner for allegedly assigning blame and criminal action to him. So that's the first case. So there are two cases. The second case, viewers, is the Mottley family is suing Dr. Griffith for personal negligence relating to Warren Mottley's death. So there are two cases. But guess what? Guess what, folks? Justice Wells is presiding over the two cases. Pause. That's right there. Look at what the first case is and the second case. If you were in Dr. Griffith's position, would you want it that way? Do you think that that would be fair to you? I would like to know from a lawyer if this is a normal thing that happens. I, as a layperson, would not like this. I would not like it. As a layperson, as somebody, if it was me, and I would not like that these are they are conflicting cases. Why I don't know. I would not like it. But I said, if there's a lawyer on here and they can explain to me, probably this is normal. I don't know. I'm just saying I don't like it. Key question: why did Justice Wells not recuse himself from presiding over both cases? If why not? I don't understand. To me, you know, potential impact. And so, actually, remember I told you that the lawyers in the case, that they actually had requested that Justice Wells, Patrick Wells, recuse himself from the case. You remember? Yeah. Okay. So I know people. I know they come on to watch and to quarrel. I'm asking questions and concerns, and they're taking notes. You can do whatever they could do, what they want to do. That's okay. Now, the lawyers in the case, based on what, again, it's online. You could see it in the newspaper. Requested for Justice Patrick Wells to recuse himself from the case. And he said, nah, I ain't doing it. Okay. So the question is, will there be any potential impact to Dr. Griffith? Will Judge Patrick Wells presiding over both of these conflicting cases hurt or benefit Dr. Griffith? The outcome remains uncertain. Yeah. Public perception. Is there a potential risk of bias? Or does this create a situation where the judicial system could be seen as overreaching? There are concerns about judicial impartiality. Is it appropriate for one judge to oversee both sides of a case involving Dr. Griffith, especially with conflicting interests? I don't know. That one, for me, a lawyer will have to explain that to me if that is okay. Right? But I, as the I would, if I were in Dr. Griffith's position, I would not be comfortable with that. Right? I would not be comfortable. But the good judge, very well learned, qualified judge, Dr. Patrick Wells, from Jamaica, he is saying, no, he's not recusing himself. But don't forget that the judge, the first judge, remember the first judge, Justice Griffith, that she said, I have taken the decision to recuse herself, or the decision was taken for her. She recused herself, but this one said no. And according to Barbados Today, she said the decision has been made for her. Interesting. Let's look at if do we have any other. Let's look at the next slide. I want to talk about Dr. Griffith. Who is Dr. Griffith? Any patients out there for Dr. Griffith? Anybody out there? And again, as we wait, if you were a patient of Dr. Griffith, you can put comment. Yes, I see one yes there. Been doing my research on him. As I said, I do not know him, and I've never seen the man in my life. I saw a picture of the man yesterday. I don't know him, never met him. But who is Dr. Griffith? Specialization: general, advanced, laparoscopic, and bariatric surgeon. Bariatric surgeon. Don't laugh at me. All these medical terms, right? Training: Center for the Advancement of Minimal Invasive Surgery in Alberta. He was trained at the University of the West Indies. That's where he did his basic training. He was trained at the Imperial College in London. Okay. And next, somebody's saying here you used to do sessions on CBC. Really? I don't know of that. Okay. Okay. Education, basic medical education at UWI Mona campus, 1995 to 2000. And as I was reading this, I remember my brother, who is a doctor, actually sent him a little messages today, because I just put I just thought of my own brother, because these things happen, and I just thought of my own young brother. I'm wondering, I have to check if they know each other at Mona. When they were there. Internship at Cornwall Regional Hospital in Jamaica. Training in ear, nose, and throat surgery, followed by general surgical program, 2004 to 2009. Honorary clinic fellow at Imperial College London, based at St. Mary's Hospital and Ealing Hospital. Those of you in the UK, you know these places. He has a diploma in that word again, laparoscopic surgery at the University of Strasbourg. Elective training in Spain under renowned laparoscopic, I think I got it this time, surgeons at hospital in De Sant Pau, Barcelona, University. Oh my goodness, this man has studied all over, Madrid, all over. Wow, very well learned. Somebody here is saying Dr. Griffith is an excellent doctor, and he's the head surgeon at the QH. So he's still the head surgeon at the QH. Somebody says his qualifications are beyond reproach. I can't. Okay. Okay. Somebody saying he's one of the best in his practice and has been recognized worldwide for his skill set. Barbados needs a man like him. Now, what I was told was that, how is my time? What I was told was that when I was inquiring about him, is that he was doing very well where he was overseas. I believe he was in the UK, and decided that, he wanted to serve his country. And everybody told him, why are you going home? It's like that. Did they have foreknowledge? They were asking him, you are doing so well, why are you going home? And he came to Barbados because he wanted to serve. He wanted to serve his country. Wow. Somebody say he has great bedside manners. Well, you have to tell me. I don't know him. Used to be on TV. Wow. He's one of the best. And as he recognized worldwide for his skill set. Oh, wow. That's awesome. Okay, he told you the same thing, that he wanted to. Okay, so Dale, you know him personally. Okay. All right, let's continue. Who is Dr. Griffith? That's member of the Royal College of Surgeons of Edinburgh. If you please, this is a son of the soil. Where did he go to school? I didn't see where he went to school and where he lived and where he grew up in Barbados. Clinical fellowship in advance, that word, laparoscopic and bariatric surgery at the Center for the Advancement of Minimally Invasive Surgery. Fellowship accredited by the American Society of Metabolic and Bariatric Surgery. He's practicing in Barbados since September 2011. He came home. Medical director at Surgical Solutions since 2011. Consultant, minimal invasive surgeon at the QEH since 2014. And he's an associate lecturer in general surgery at UWI-Caville campus. Mm. Wow. Leadership roles. Appointed head of the Department of Surgery at the QEH, August 2020. Director of the Caribbean Colon Cancer Initiative, focusing on colorectal cancer in persons of African descent. Important role. Advocates for surgical trainees through research, missions, and skill advancement. Mm, good. Hmm. I'm reading this and I'm just like, wow, this is amazing. Yeah, it's really, I mean, this is really amazing, very amazing. Anyway, somebody writes here, okay, that he's a good and very caring and honest person. But I mean, do you agree that I think that it is only fair though that the families seek to find out exactly what happened to their brother, their son. That's normal and it should happen, don't you think? I think that they're within their right to do that. The family is. Yeah, yeah. I think on the website, I don't know if Dave has that yet. But on the website there are some videos, and I watched them today, and I thought that I wanted to share them with you as well. Bear with me. Obviously, I am just knowing about this doctor. So yeah. So let's play some of the videos. Thank you so much, Dave, who's doing a fantastic job. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rosalind Carrington and I'm 53. Last year I had abdominal pain, and when I had it checked out, realized I had it in large spleen. I did a lot of tests and had a low white blood count, and they decided that they could find no reason for the spleen to be enlarged, so it had to come out. So we had to find a surgeon that could do laparoscopic surgery. I needed not to be exposed to a lot of infection. So I met with Dr. Griffith in January, and in a matter of 3 weeks, I had the surgery. Everything went smoothly. There was a little pain after surgery, but that's normal. By 3 or 4 hours later after surgery, I was up and walking around. My aftercare was great. Dr. Griffith visited me in hospital several times, and then I had my follow-ups at the office. The staff there were really helpful, really good. I'd really recommend him to anybody for laparoscopic surgery. It's fast, it's easy, and the sick leave time is so short. Everything was really great.
I'm Jeffrey Brown. I'm 68 years old. I'm a pharmacist by profession. Having encountered pains for 12 years from incisional hernias, I was introduced to Dr. Sahle Griffith. I went, made the appointment, and Dr. Griffith set the date for the operation, which he said was doable. It was perfect care from Dr. Griffith and his team, and
Okay, guys, we're going to fix that for you. Thank you for alerting us that there's no audio. Let me know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? We're live and these things happen on live TV. So let me know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Judith? Yes, you can hear me. So we're going to replay the last two videos for you. Okay, just hang on. We're working on it. All right. I have one of the there is an actual person an actual patient that I'm going to ask her to click on the link and to come on at this time. Okay. Yes. So click on the link and come on at this time, please. Go ahead, Dave. Thank you.
I'm Jeffrey Brown. I'm 68 years old. I'm a pharmacist by profession. Having encountered pains for 12 years from incisional hernias, I was introduced to Dr. Sahle Griffith. I went, made the appointment, and Dr. Griffith set the date for the operation, which he said was doable. There was perfect care from Dr. Griffith and his team, and on the Saturday, 3 days after I was discharged, the office and his team kept in constant contact with me. And I would say, if I have to recommend anyone for operation, check Surgical Solutions and Dr. Sahle Griffith and his team.
My name is Ethelinda Boyner. My age is 79. Last year, in June, I saw a problem. I went to my medical doctor. She told me I have to get a test done. I get a test done. When I went back to her, she told me I have to get a surgeon. I was recommended to see Dr. Griffith at Surgical Solution in Mall. I went positive with them. I had the surgery. I spent 3 days in the hospital and then I went home. The team was good, especially Nurse Clark. I would recommend anybody to him.
Yes, folks, I think that's it. Right. We had three of them. Now, while we wait on, I see someone is coming on. Device is not connected. So you have to connect your, Judithan, you have to connect your devices. Yes. I want to say that I want us to think about this. Do you remember when Caswell, the last time I think Caswell was on, or the time before that, he spoke of a young lady that was operated on at the QEH, and it's alleged that her they took out her womb. You remember that? And it was a mistake. They made a mistake and took out her womb. In fact, they left a piece of equipment somewhere inside the woman. And Caswell was dealing with the case and so on, and she was off from work, and they want to know fire her, or dismiss her, all of these kinds of things. And she has not, her case is nowhere near court. I've spoken to the woman. She can't get a day in court because based on what has happened to her, the other doctors have said have happened to her. I have had people message me that their grandchild born deformed because of what happened at the hospital. According to these people, I've heard from where I sit so many cases where some issue, some medical issue occurred, and sometimes these cases take years, 20 years. I know somebody who something, some issue with her foot, and that's going on now, I'm sure, over 10, 12 years. But the question is, how do you fast track a case? How did this case get here this quickly? In my counting, it seemed like it's about 2.5, 3 years. How did this case? I don't understand. How did this case? We have such a backlog of cases in our courts. We have to ask the question, how are cases assigned or fast tracked? Huh? Oh, that's what we're saying. How do we? I just don't understand it. How is it fast tracked? How are cases assigned when we are told there are a backlog of cases? I saw, I wrote that down, but I didn't remember how many cases, although those are criminal cases. Well, I mean, this they wanted this to be one, but the backlog of cases is just ridiculous. Anybody saw in the paper the backlog of cases? How did this happen when there are people that have cases, like regular people like you and I? I don't understand how cases are assigned, or how do they get fast tracked? On what's the, anybody knows about that? While we think about that, let me talk to Miss Judith Ann Clark. Good night, ma'am. How are you?
Hello, good night, Marcy. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you loud and clear,
Good.
and it's such a joy to hear your voice.
Excellent, thank you. Well, good night to you. Blessings to you, your panelists, and the loyal opposition viewers. It is indeed a pleasure to be here with you tonight during this segment.
Yes,
I just want to Yes, I just want to take this opportunity to share a few heartfelt comments about Dr. Sahle Griffith. Now, I've known Dr. Griffith over 10 years. I took my father to him back then. I took my father to him back then, over 10 years ago. He diagnosed and worked with my father's condition. I was very, very impressed with the care that was given. Subsequent to that, in more recent times, I became his patient after experiencing adverse effects from the injection. His medical skills, his interpersonal skills, and his patient care are second to none. And I say that from the bottom of my heart. I've never had any reason to doubt his medical acumen, and I would undoubtedly recommend him to anyone that I know that requires, needs his services. I don't, there's not much that I can say, but Dr. Griffith is a very good human being, excellent doctor, and you read his bio, you read his training and stuff like that. And all I can say, this whole situation is very, very unfortunate, very, very unfortunate,
yes,
and it is near and dear to my heart. It
yes.
certainly is.
Well, we keep praying for him and praying for the family as well, that it to be
Yes,
resolved.
yes, I have been doing that from day one, and I have told him that on several occasions. And
Yes.
I continue to do that. I told him I continue to pray for him. I was in his office up to about 2 months ago, and
Mm,
I messaged his head nurse up to today, and I told her the same thing as well, keeping them, he and the entire staff and team in my prayers at all times. And he knows that. He knows
yes,
that.
yes.
So,
And we,
like I said, like I said, I just wanted to share, those few heartfelt comments about Dr. Sahle Griffith.
thank you so much, Judith Ann. Thank you. God bless.
You're more than welcome, Marcy. God bless.
Yes, yes. And she said she's doing praying for Dr. Griffith. We also pray for the Mottley family, who, they have lost a loved one as well. The whole thing is just, it's difficult for everybody involved. Yes, we must pray for everybody. Okay, all involved. But I want us, as we go out, as we, we're coming to the end of the show. I want to just ask us, what do you think about how cases are fast tracked, or how does it get to the top if there are so many cases, but there's a backlog. Who saw the newspaper article yesterday about the backlog of cases? Anybody saw that? Anybody saw it? The backlog of cases. If that is the case, how did I don't understand. I don't understand how it reached. It got attended. I was asking this question from a long time ago. I was asking Caswell when Caswell was on. Caswell, how did how did this get here? How did it get here this quickly? When there are regular people like that lady who they took out her womb, or she was given a hysterectomy, and then they found out nothing was wrong. They made a mistake, and she has not had any redress to her situation, no day in court as yet. What about the parents whose children were born deformed, or all kinds of things happening to them because according to them the way the birth was, the child, the birthing happened at the hospital. I mean, we've heard the horror stories at QH. I had a friend who went there, and he's saying because his mother was not attended to, and left for days to sit in a chair. And she went there very, very sick, fell on the floor in the bathroom, and they took her there, and they had her for almost 3 days sitting in a chair. What about him? It just make you, somebody said different courses, so different horses. Yeah, I know of cases like you, Monica, 30 or more years, and it hasn't been called yet. How do cases float to the top? I don't understand that part. I really don't understand. It's yeah. Mm, 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 mm. M. Gardner saying the name, color, social, and economic background counts in this place. It seems so to me. Yeah. They created an uneven playing ground. Barbadians, this I think has nothing to do with the case itself and the details of the case. I believe that every Barbadian needs to ask the question: how was this case fast tracked? Is there in law a reason? Like, how do you determine which ones which ones will go to trial? Is there a way that I told you I'm not a lawyer? I don't know. But just I'm just thinking, what about that lady with the hysterectomy? I think that Barbadians need to wake up to this particular thing, because this is something that to me now it just looks unjust, right? That people should have cases, a backlog of cases, 30 years. I heard today some people have cases 20 years. Some people dead and gone, and the case don't call yet. And somebody said justice delayed. Is it justice denied? Delayed justice is just like denied justice. Things that the ones that got the money and position or fast track. Is that really what it is? Is that what it is? Is that what it is? Who determines? Pardon my ignorance, but who determines the cases that should go to trial? How are they fast tracked? You know, hmm? Somebody said it looks disgusting to us as a people how they throw the wealth around in this country. So you're saying the Chief Justice. Now, the Chief Justice, I remember us doing a whole show on this, and Caswell's biggest thing was this is that, there's a problem there because his Caswell's, I remember well, he was saying that, the relationship there, it seemed a little strange. Somebody said it's called the sociology of medicine. Wow. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. These are things to think about in terms of justice. Yeah, so I agree because the family needs to get answers, but I think you should fall in line like everybody else. Yeah, you should fall in line like everybody else, and we need to ask the chief justice needs to answer that question. How did this case flow to the top? Chief Justice, how did it get to the top? Can you explain to the people who are there waiting for 30 years and 20 years with their case? I mean, Barbadians, think about it. The same blood running in everybody's veins in here. And when we suffer, we all suffer. Yes, questions need to be asked. The family want answers, but also the lady with that lost her womb. And the others that are messaging me on my phone right now as the show is going on, telling me of their situation. People have cases waiting 30, 20 years. Is it an abuse of power? I don't know. Is it an right? Yeah, I took the time to bring awareness in this matter because I think that it's important for us to try to understand it. Huh? Right? There's no justice. It doesn't look like justice to us. It doesn't. So the Chief Justice needs to tell us because, okay, if there's a backlog, there's a backlog. But how do you fast track a case? How do you determine this thing just happened? You have to say just when you are waiting for 30 years? And when your grandmother dead and gone and the case don't call yet? Don't try it? Somebody wrote, Marcia, they have one law for the Medes and another law for the Persians. I agree with this person that said they are doing these things in plain sight. This is the same government, the same family, the same Mottley that took her sister, remember? Just the other day, we were going on holidays and I was away, but they took her sister and who used to run a restaurant, as far as I know. I don't know all of her bio or CV, but she is now isn't she now leading one of the tourism agencies overseas? These things, I mean, people, Barbadians, we have to wake up. We have to wake up. There's no royalty in here. There's no royal family in here. Your family not more royal than mine. That I must suffer. And I have gone through something at the hospital, waiting 20, 30 years, and my case can't try yet, can't go to court yet, and something happened, 2.5, 3 years, and I hear judgment given? How I must feel? Huh? How I must feel? It's not right. Chief Justice, you need to answer. See, Andrea Moore lost her mom in 2022 to surgery. Did she get, I don't know if she's checking into if there was negligence. We all know that it don't even make sense. Some people say it don't even make sense. I met somebody and I was saying to them, why don't you, they start to break down crying, say it don't even make any sense. So justice for you, but none for me. Because my family don't matter. And yes, that family has a right to look into the case. They do. They do. They do. Right? They do. But the big question is, how did it get to the top? People saying they lost family. This one said they lost it in the QH for negligence. This thing's not right. Barbadians, you understand? And do you realize that they're just doing it plain for us to see? The Prime Minister appoint her friend as a Chief Justice. Let's spell this part out. This part I can spell out. She appoint her friend, this is her friend as Chief Justice. The whole thing come right around and making sense. And you're going to tell me that is this really what she's doing? Yeah, we're in serious trouble. And this is why at the beginning of the program, I spoke to you about corruption and how it's so important. Never again, Barbados, never again. Never again. Don't give anybody 30 love, because I don't know. I'm asking question, how this case floated to the top? And then secondly, on what merit? What's the merit of her sister being given that big job in the UK, a tourism job? What is the merit? And what's the basis for it? And that's done so plain. And we don't have the uproar about it. In some countries, she have to recall her. She have to come back. She have to wheel and come again, take by the plane and come back home. And people here with cases for 30 years and 20 years. People here have families died because of negligence. You know how many at the hospital and there's no justice for them? And that is wrong. That is wrong. That is wrong. Power and absolute power corrupts. See, that is what 30 love does. You hear? And so when you're skinning your teeth and you're laughing, oh, they get 30 love, you get 30 love. That's what you got. Yeah, we need to be much more mature, understanding what is going on, because in the end, it's going to affect you. Yes, Mr. Murray always said family, friends, and fornicators. All right, folks, this is where we sign off tonight. And I just want to say thank you all for joining us. And I hope you learned something. And if there's anything that you have seen, you can always research and yourself and go look on the internet, go and search it. If I said it on here, and you can call me and let me know if it's right or wrong. All right. If you found something that's very different from what I shared, you can, and I will come on and I will correct it. It's no problem. Okay. Thank you all so very much. And don't forget to keep praying for little Amaya. We're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. It's coming through for Amaya, and we are excited. We are excited, excited. And remember, the children of Maturu, donations of $25 or more for the year. And those children will be at least set for breakfast in the mornings as when they go to school. Thank you. I love you all. God bless you. Thank you, Dave. Great, great job. Thanks, everybody, for joining and all the guests. Thank you so very much for being on. Senator Walters and my brother Bob, brother Robert, brother Bob, who was on and shared his story with us. Thank you all so very much. God bless you. We did not talk about Congo tonight because it was quite a bit. I think I bit off a bit more than I could chew. But I've got it ready, and we will do that, God willing, on Friday. Okay? Bye-bye.